If you're a fan of giant robot games or are in the vague vicinity of someone who's a huge Gundam fan, you've probably heard about Gundam Breaker 4, which is releasing in this August. And you may be wondering, what exactly is Gundam Breaker 4? Now that is a super fair question to have, because in all honesty, the Breaker franchise has not really had a ton of buzz recently. There was Gundam Breaker Mobile, which unfortunately closed service not too long ago, and then there was New Gundam Breaker, which released a few years ago and was unfortunately not terribly well received. However, all the pre-release stuff we've seen for Gundam Breaker 4 looks incredibly promising so far, and so I really want to explain to people what the Breaker franchise is actually about. At its core, Gundam Breaker games are about building Gundams and fighting them. The in-universe kind of reason for this is that you build little Gunpla models, the Gundam plastic models, and then they put them in this kind of VR chamber where they can fight against other people's Gundam plastic models. It's not unlike the Build Divers universe or Build Fighters universe if you've watched those Gundam anime. The game also works not too dissimilarly from Monster Hunter. You do a handful of missions that typically have a series of different mobile suits in them. You beat up the mobile suits so bad that their parts break off of them, and then you get to collect them and use them in your kit. It's actually a lot of fun. Like I said, it's a lot like Monster Hunter, which is a gameplay loop a lot of people really enjoy. And with Gundam Breaker 4 looking to be a lot more like Gundam Breaker 3, which was extremely good, though unfortunately not easily available in North America, it's really exciting to see that we're getting this new entry. Now I want to keep this primer not too time consuming, so I'm going to split this video into two major sections, talking about the customization and the combat, which I think are the two high points for a lot of people when it comes to the Breaker franchise. So first off, let's talk about the customization. There are a lot of different mobile suits available in these games. Estimates are around 190 units in Gundam Breaker 3, and New Gundam Breaker had somewhere around 200 plus, maybe 250. It just depends on whether you want to read through all the lists that people have kind of compiled. But in any case, there are a ton of robot and robot parts to choose from here. Now, while there haven't been any confirmed list for what's returning to Gundam Breaker 4 as far as new units, it has been confirmed that all the units from Breaker 3 at the very least will be there, because there has been a website on the Breaker website that listed all of the units from Breaker 3, and there will probably be a lot more since there have been some new franchises and some already confirmed cool robots like the Gundam Ariel from Witch from Mercury. So what exactly do you do with all these robot parts that you have? Well, the number one thing is to mix and match them together into your own big robot, or tiny robot, or I guess it depends on your perspective, right? In any case, there is a ton of customization here. You get to pick the melee weapons, you get to pick your ranged weapons, your head, arms, body, legs, your shield, your backpack, your builder's parts, which we'll talk about later. There's just so many different options to choose from here. And the parts themselves are really cool. Aside from just having the aesthetic of the mobile suit that you're looking for, a lot of them will also have unique abilities or certain kind of lore enhancements, if that makes sense. Often these are just keywords that enhance certain things like your boost speed or your boost recharge rate or your melee damage, stuff like that. But it adds a little bit to every kind of customization that you do here, and it's really cool to mix and match some awesome stuff. As I mentioned before, there are something called builder's parts too. These are kind of extra parts you can put onto your mobile suit that just kind of give it more abilities in battle. These are things from hand grenades to missile pods to beam rifles that you can just kind of stick wherever on your mobile suit. You can even adjust the positions and rotations to make sure it all looks really cool and make sure it color matches and everything like that. It's a really neat amount of customization. Something else that's really cool is just how many abilities you get to unlock, whether it's from the builder's parts with their unique like missile shots or stuff like that, or it's from a specific mobile suit like the Seven Swords having a specific melee weapon that you can do if you equip the legs. There are a lot of abilities you can mix and match, and we'll talk about it more in the combat section, but just know there is an immense amount of stuff you can do and put together in this game. If you've put on some parts that have like wings or are amphibious, you can also change your traversal type to flight or amphibious walking. It's really cool. Now, if you're a big fan of making sure that your mobile suit is aesthetically pleasing, well, you're in luck because there is an awesome amount of painting that is available here. You can change every single part of the suit, paint them all individually or all as one big unit. And you can adjust things like the pattern of the coloring. Maybe you want like a cool digital camo or like a leopard print, or you want to make it more metallic or more glossy. You can do that for sure. There's even a bunch of little accents and decals you can throw on your mobile suit as well, whether it's stuff like a caution mark or it's an emblem from the immense list of emblems if you really want to rep your favorite mobile suit manufacturer, which for me, it's SNRI. I love the F91. I'm going to put SNRI on every single one of my mobile suits. And don't worry, you even have access to the entire breadth of colors that you can imagine by going into the manual color picking, and then you can save those presets for easy access later. That way you're not trying to make sure you get that exact shade of purple just right again. You can even adjust the wear and tear of your mobile suit as well. Say you want the feet to be a little bit muddy or you want the edges to be a little bit scuffed up. It's crazy just how much you can individualize the look of your mobile suit, and it's really, really cool what they've done here, and I can't imagine it's going to be a step back in Breaker 4. In fact, I imagine it's going to be even better since they're including stuff like the diorama mode, which is going to be really, really cool for making your mobile suit do whatever kind of cool action poses you want it to. Alright, so we've talked a lot about the customization here, but is the game actually fun to play? Yes, it's incredibly fun. We're going to be looking at Gundam Breaker 3 here. It's what we were looking at for the customization, so we'll keep doing it for combat since that's what Bandai said they're trying to kind of go back to with Gundam Breaker 4. So first off, for a kind of customization game like this, I didn't really expect the combat to be terribly deep, and I was happily, extremely mistaken. Just the amount of options you have in combat is incredible. I don't even know where to begin. I guess we'll just start with your basic weapons, your main melee weapon and your main ranged weapon. Often melee weapons will have a heavy and a light attack, or ranged weapons will have a kind of spam and a charged attack. Not always, but sometimes. But it's not just a heavy and a light attack for the melee weapons. Oftentimes these flow into Dynasty Warrior style combos, like the Claw, which has 3 different grounded heavy attacks, depending on how many light attacks you did before. For example, if you just hold the heavy attack button without inputting a light attack, you'll get a really cool suplex. If you press the light attack once and then hold the heavy attack, you'll kind of punch your fist into the enemy and then blow them up. And if you do 3 to 4 light attacks and then hold the heavy attack, you'll get a dope power bomb that does a ton of damage. Like, this isn't even the only melee weapon that's that deep. Like, it's really, really cool just how much stuff you can do. There's even a ton of melee weapons that have like full aerial combos and stuff. And there's like launchers that come from their light attack combos, think kind of like Devil May Cry launchers, where you can then juggle your opponent in the air and then end with a cool kind of aerial finisher. There's just so much depth to just the melee weapons alone that I was kind of taken aback when I first played this game. Even things like shields, which you would generally think would just be for blocking damage, can often have a little bonus attack that you can do while you're guarding. It's neat. Next, we have to talk about abilities. When you're guarding, you get access to 4 abilities, which are mapped to your 4 face buttons, and they're entirely customizable in the Assemble menu earlier. There are a ton of abilities you can choose from, and more often than not, they are tied to your mobile suit parts that you've put on. So you get something really, really cool and specific to that mobile suit, like if you use Nobel Gundam's chest, you'll get the Berserker mode, stuff like that. On top of that, you can also customize what is called optional equipment, which is tied to 8 different places on your D-pad. You press the D-pad direction once or twice, depending on which one you want, which gives you essentially 12 different abilities, all on different independent recharge rates, along with your ranged and shield attack options, and your melee combos. Just the amount of stuff you can do in combat is absolutely insane. There's no reason it needed to go this hard, but I'm so glad it did. Some of these abilities that put you into a neat state, like the Berserker mode I mentioned earlier, also enable some really cool advanced combat techniques like boost canceling your attacks, which is not something on by default. Normally you have a little bit of recovery frames that you have to go through first, but it just adds even more depth to this already crazy combat system. And if all of your abilities and melee combos, ranged options, optional equipment wasn't enough, you also get access to something called the Break Meter, which is basically Devil Trigger. It powers up your mobile suit a bunch and also gives you the ability to launch a finishing attack, which, of course, is also customizable. There's a lot going on in the combat system here, and it's really, really cool. There's a lot of stuff that I probably haven't even found out yet. One of my absolute favorite things that I found out was if you use the Berserker system, or I'm assuming any of the modes from the G Gundam suits, and your break mode at the same time, you'll go into Golden Hyper mode from G Gundam, and the G Gundam battle theme even plays, which is absolutely incredible. I love this game. So there is a super basic overview of some of the best parts of the Gundam Breaker franchise. As you can tell, I really, really like this franchise, and I'm really, really excited for Breaker 4. Overall, these games are a ton of fun, and the Breaker franchise probably sits in my top 3 Gundam game franchises, along with the Versus series of Arena Fighters and the Dynasty Warriors Gundam games, which I still hold out hope for one of these days, but I'm not exactly counting on it. This also seems like Bandai is wanting to step back towards what Gundam Breaker 3 was after New Gundam Breaker wasn't really as well received by fans, and I and a lot of other people am really excited to hear that. I cannot wait to see what they cook up for Gundam Breaker 4, and I hope you want to check it out too. I will be streaming this on release if maybe you don't want to pull the trigger right away and want to see what some gameplay looks like.